YouTube channel Chit Chats with Hannah Wilson. So in this video, I want to talk about my top 4 tips to getting into medical school. So these are the tips that I found along the way through the application process. So I hope you guys find this video helpful. Without further ado, let's get on with this video. So the first thing is, let's talk about some basic information about applying to universities in the UK. There are over 100 universities in the UK, only of which 35 of them do medicine. So medicine is a very competitive course. Altogether, you're allowed to apply to 5 universities, out of which only 4 can be medicine and 1 has to be something else. So that's some basic information. With that being said, let's get on with our tip number 1. Okay, so tip number 1 is picking the right university for you. This is the most important tip that I can give you. You need to be smart and strategic about which university that you pick. What do I mean by this? Okay, so best universities base their decision on 4 different factors. Those are personal statement, Bmat or UKCAT scores, GCSE grades, and predicted grades. The thing is, different universities prioritize different things. So for example, some universities give importance to your GCSE grades, whereas others give importance to your Bmat or your UKCAT scores. However, most universities will have cutoffs. So they will say people with below average of 600 in the UKCAT will be rejected, or they'll say they want students with 5 A's or A stars. So you need to look out for those. However, some universities, on the other hand, will have a point system. So they'll appoint a point to each factor and they'll total it up, and whatever, they'll have a cutoff for that score. So this might vary each year, so you need to look out for that as well. The main takeaway from this is that you need to do your research. Research is really key. So the way I did my research was by going through all the universities that did medicine, and then on the other side I wrote down what I think they prioritized. So if they prioritized out of the 4 factors what they prioritized, and I wrote down if they had any cutoff scores, anything that was important. And then I evaluated my 4 factors. So I kind of figured out what were my strengths and what were my weaknesses. So in my case, my strengths were my GCSE grades and my personal statement, and my weakness was my UKCAT or Bmat results. So after I did that, I picked universities where my strengths aligned with their priorities. Basically, you need to pick the universities where you'll be able to meet their criteria. So some universities also has like foundation year medicine or gateway into medicine, so they'll have certain criteria for that as well, so you need to look out for that. So the main takeaway is always do your research. Okay, so for tip number 2, my tip number 2 is to do both Bmat and UKCAT. Okay, so this might be a bit controversial, but I think it's best if you do both exams. So I've seen a lot of people making the mistake of only writing the UKCAT. I think what this does is limit your choices. So there's this whole stigma that Bmat is only asked for at top universities like Oxford or Cambridge, but this is not the case. Bmat is asked at Brighton, Leeds and Lancaster as well. So this is why it's important that you do your research. So the reason why I suggest to write both exams is because both exams are very different. Yes, they both do have the aptitude section. Bmat has one and the UKCAT is all aptitude, but what Bmat has is science and maths and an essay section. So what this means is that some people will do better in their Bmat, whereas others will do better in the UKCAT. So a quick story time. When I was writing my UKCAT, I was planning on making the same mistake. I was only going to write the UKCAT. When I wrote it, I didn't do so well. So I made this quick decision to do the Bmat as well, and that kind of saved my application, because out of the 4 universities I applied to, 3 of them I applied to Bmat universities. So if I hadn't wrote my Bmat, my chance of getting into medical school would have been very slim. So what writing both exams does is allows your options to be kept open, and you have more choices, so you can pick which university is best suited to you by looking at which university you have better chances of getting into. So the reason and the excuse that everybody says because they don't want to write Bmat and the UKCAT is because they don't want to give themselves too much work and overwork and pressurize themselves. But you can write the Bmat in either September or November, and you can write the UKCAT from July to October. So what this means is that you can arrange it so you're writing one after the other, so you're not working and revising for both at the same time. So that excuse should solve half of the problem. Okay, so the tip number 3 that I have is the resources that you use to get into medical school. So the resources that you use is very key and determine how successful you are in getting in. I'll be sharing the resources that I use. So to revise for the UKCAT, I mainly used this book. It was called Getting into Medical School 1250 UKCAT Practice Questions. I'll insert a picture here so you guys can see what it looks like, and I'll also leave an Amazon link down below. This book basically went through all the tips, and it gave advice on how to actually properly answer the questions, and it had loads of practice questions as well. I also used this website called Pass the UKCAT. This had loads of practice questions as well, and this obviously you're practicing online, so you're practicing on the computer, so this kind of gives the same effect as doing your actual test. So I'll leave a link down below for that website as well. I also watched loads of YouTube videos. So I mainly watched one guy, his name was Kharma, and he has loads of videos on preparing for the UKCAT where he gives loads of tips and advice and stuff. So I'll leave his link to his channel down below. People also use this website called Medify. I personally didn't use it. You have to pay for it, but I've heard it's a very good website. The only thing with that website is that your situational judgment section is not that accurate, so just be aware of that when you're using Medify. The main resource that I used for my Bmat was Bmat Ninja. This is the best resource that I can suggest to you. You have to pay for it, but I think it's really worth the money. They basically go through the whole content for Bmat, which I'm pretty sure you can't find anywhere else, and they have loads of practice questions, and they teach you how to actually properly answer the questions and stuff. They have loads of videos as well, so make sure I highly recommend it. So make sure you check Bmat Ninja. I'll leave a link down below when you're preparing for your Bmat. To prepare for my interview, I basically used a book. It's by the same brand as the UKCAT book. It's called Getting into Medical School MMI Questions or something. I'll insert a picture here so you guys can see what it looks like, and I'll leave an Amazon link down below. This book basically goes through all the different questions that they could ask you, and it gives you an idea on how to answer each question. So I think this is a really good book. If you go through the entire book, I'm pretty sure you'll be set for your interviews. I also watched a lot of YouTube videos to help me with my interviews. So I mainly watched two people. Again, I watched Kharma. He has loads of tips on MMI interviews and stuff, and I watched this guy called Abaddal. He's quite famous on YouTube, and he has really good playlist on medical school interviews, so questions that they could ask. So make sure you check both those channels out. I'll also be doing a video on how to prepare for your interview, how I prepare, tips and advice and stuff. So look out for that and stay tuned. So tip number 4 that I have for you guys is getting good work experience. Work experience is a really key factor in your application process. It's not about doing loads of work experience, but it's about doing important stuff. You need to do relevant work experience. Like I mentioned previously in my personal statement video, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. You need to be able to do and talk about your work experience in your personal statement and in your interviews. So I'm going to share with you guys the work experience that I did. I'm not saying this is the exact work experience that you should do, but I'm just sharing it with you guys so you guys get an idea on what to look out for. So I did a week of work shadowing at a local hospital. So this is when you follow around doctors in different departments, and it's really fun. I learned a lot. I learned what it was like to be a doctor and experience the hospital a bit better. So I highly recommend this work experience. What you can do to get this work experience is go to local hospitals near you, and ask them. I'm not sure if all hospitals do this, but so you might need to ask around a few hospitals. Similar thing that you can do is do work shadowing internationally, so do it abroad. So what this means is you're following doctors around in a different country. So what this does, it gives you a better understanding of healthcare in different environments. So this is also really helpful, but I understand it's a bit costly, so it might be easier for people who are from abroad. Another work experience that I did was volunteering at a local charity. Not a local charity, it was just a charity. It was called Age UK. It's basically like a daycare center for elderly, and again, this was a very fun experience. I learned a lot, such as being part of a multidisciplinary team and stuff. So this was really fun. The main thing is you need to be a rounded individual, so you need to show that you have other interests other than medicine and your studies and stuff. So to show that you're a rounded individual, you need to have other interests. So this is really important. My other interests were things such as like dance and baking and stuff. So I talked about a lot about those in my personal statement and in my interviews. So make sure you have other interests. So these were my 4 top tips to getting into medical school. I hope you guys find this video helpful. If you do, please don't forget to comment, subscribe and share. I'll be posting more videos on medical school application tips, so stay tuned. So till then, take care and bye.